Any university that doesn't grow their freshman class faster than population, that has over $1 billion in endowment, should lose their tax-free status because they're no longer in higher education. They're a hedge fund offering classes.
Hey, have you watched Scott Galloway, aka Prof G's brilliant TED Talk yet? If not, please do so right away. Now, I'm not North American, but you can feel the passion and pain in this talk. It is 17 minutes of pure brilliance. The first minute, that's like gratuitous rubbish.
Essentially what we have here is a telenovela where after a night of unbridled passion between Bill Gates and Malcolm Gladwell, they give birth to their bastard love child, Simon Sinek.
Look, I can appreciate the hooky nature of contrarian jokes as much as the next guy, but at least 30 seconds of that could have been spent working on some pauses and pace control later on in the presentation. But that's not what we're here to talk about. You see, I said that we were here to talk about the second most important lesson that you could take away from this presentation. Tell us! The first lesson is obviously the content itself. The second lesson, what is it? It's this. You do not have a fucking slide problem. There were a heap of slides in this presentation, but his talk was not good in spite of them. With all that data and numbers, I believe that his talk was good in a big part because of those slides. I've owned a presentation company called Missing Link for 27 years, and I've been a professional speaker for 21 of those. I'm in awe of how people still believe that you can save a shitty presentation with pretty slides.
It's not possible. No, it's not possible.
Everybody wants to blame PowerPoint. It's not PowerPoint's fault. Blaming PowerPoint for a bad presentation is like blaming the bed for a crappy shag.
It's a good point.
Let me tell you this. If you took like a quarter of the energy that you're putting into designing nice slides into creating your content and delivering it well, you will have a way better presentation. And yet all we care about is pretty slides. This is our obsession.
Harvard is the best example of this. They've increased their endowment in the last 40 years and have decided to expand their enrollment, their freshman class, by 4%.
If you go onto social media and you do a search for PowerPoint is dead, you're going to see hundreds of these samey link-baity tweets or posts talking about different AI tools that you can use to make your presentation better. In my entire career, I've never seen a bad presentation made better with pretty slides. It's all about what you put on the content. A well-delivered, well-structured content can actually forgive you some of the bad slides. And I think that's what Galloway really understood. His slides, were they pretty? No. Were they good? Yes. Were they helpful? Yes. All of these AI generation tools, they're not going to give you a better presentation. They're just going to give you a prettier one. And prettier is fine, but only later, right? You got to bake a good cake before you put on the icing.
That's a metaphor.
And it's not like I'm against AI for presentation design. Heck, we created a course on that very topic. We didn't just cover design though. And in fact, I'll put a link down in the comments below for you to watch if you do want to check out that course. It's pretty rad. Oh, and it's worth noting that this isn't new. This isn't an AI thing. People have been obsessed with trying to make, fix bad presentations with pretty slides for years now. But my friends, we are curing the wrong disease. Let's look at some of Galloway's slides just to kind of dial that point in.
All right, this all adds up to a bunch of graphs all headed up into the right. And what are they? What's the first one? Oh, that's self-harm rates, which have exploded, especially among girls. It's gotten more expensive. Higher ed and homes, and the ability, not only is higher ed incredibly expensive, it's not accessible. This is the transfer I'm going to be speaking about. This has resulted in an enormous transfer of wealth, where people over the age of 70 used to control 19% of household income versus people under the age of 40 used to control 12. Their wealth has been cut in half. They're pissed off and they're angry that they don't enjoy the same spoils and prosperity that were provided to our generation. A decent proxy for how much we value youth labor is minimum wage, and we've kept it purposely pretty low. If it had just kept pace with productivity, it'd be about $23 a share, but we've decided to purposely keep it low.
These are not pretty slides, but they're good slides. There's numbers, there's words, there's data, and a whole lot of slides. I will say there's one little criticism of Galloway though. He got on stage and said he was going to be standing for 12 minutes.
I have 44 slides in 720 seconds. Let's light this candle.
But he spoke for 17 minutes 59. I actually thought he'd come in just 1 second under the 18 minutes until I realized I think this guy ran the clock 6 minutes over. Naughty, naughty, Scott. Look, definitely cut that first minute. You didn't need it. But I think this talk was actually the right length. This talk deserved 18 minutes. I digress. Normally, I would say that when you run the clock, it's because you don't respect your audience. And yet Galloway so clearly does. That's why he's created these beautiful microscripts that people will absolutely be able to remember. Lines like these.
It's never been easier to be a billionaire. It's never been harder to be a millionaire. It's to give the bottom 90 a chance to be in the top 10. The wonderful things about low and middle income households is they spend all their money.
I mean, those are carved on your brain now. To make this slightly easier, I would have probably made some slides with those behind it. Then people can take a photograph of it. They can share on social media. And it's easier to remember things when we see them as well as hear them. But look, I'm not going to split hairs with a guy over this. Well, because, you know.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Listen, good talks are written before they are designed, before they are delivered. Galloway gets that. So should you. And if you want to see the structure that we use to write good, killer, kick-ass presentations, then definitely watch this video next. Okay, and if you haven't yet, definitely go watch Galloway's talk. And when you're doing it, look at his slides, and let me know with a time code or a screenshot, which slide you think did the most heavy lifting. And then let me know if you think the presentation could have worked as well without it. Until next time, make mischief.